to this week's episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I am your host, River Lee, founder of the Savvy Groomer. I teach you guys to go from being burnt out, broken, to healthy and wealthy, happy, building a grooming business on your terms. So, this is a very special edition of Grow Wealthy Grooming. This is our membership question. So, for those of you guys, hey, Ruth, great to see you here. So we are live on both YouTube, Facebook, two different Facebook groups. So we're going to be pulling questions from that have already been asked. And then, of course, if you guys have more questions about the membership masterclass or memberships in general, I am here to answer that. If you guys have not seen, if you have not done a live with us yet, you can always use this chat. So it's chat.restream.io/Facebook. And it's going to allow you, if you're on Facebook, for me to see your name. So it's really important that if you want me to know who you are, that you do that on Facebook. Unfortunately, Facebook won't let what's called Restream see who you are before then. So it's great to see everyone here. So Tiffany, whenever you're ready, I'm going to have Tiffany help me. We've collected all the questions from all of the different groups and all of the questions you guys have asked, and we're going to go ahead and knock those out. So if you want to post it, Tiffany, I will go ahead and put it up on the screen. And I also have, boop. Oh, so Tiffany, if you can put that actually in either the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat, go ahead and post that there so I can pull it up on the screen. All right, well, I'm going to start with Ruth's question while Tiffany goes ahead and gets that rocking and rolling. So Ruth asked, I'd like to know how to market to my cat clients to get on a monthly bath. How would I do that? So first things first, we have to discuss a lot more than we have time for. But the first thing we can do is by using different price drivers and psychology drivers, right? So getting a cat client on a monthly bath, there has to be a reason they're getting on a monthly bath, whether that is availability, you educating them, and ultimately them understanding the value of that service. So I do think that as far as a monthly bath, I think we could almost do, if you haven't already seen it, there is a great Grow Wealthy Grooming where we talk about why we think every 4 weeks is best. And so with getting your cat on a regular basis, it's things like the same things with the membership, right? It's exclusivity, availability, etc., and the way that you're pricing your baths. If it's the same price for every 4 weeks as 8 weeks, as 12 weeks, as 6 months, there's no reason for them to come every month. People do things for two reasons: because it's the right thing to do, or they do it because it's the best value. Okay. So we had a student in, I believe it was one of our Facebooks, say that they were concerned about joining or signing up for a membership and creating a membership because they were really afraid no one would sign up. So this is a valid fear, right? I mean, I think all fears are valid, and I'm not here to say, oh, that's crazy, right? So let's start there. You know, it is scary to have faith, right? It's really scary to be like, I believe that this is going to work. But again, we're going to use a lot of price drivers and psychology for them to see that the membership really is the best option for them. People have been, taught to run their grooming salons that it's the same price, whether you're a member or a non-member, you're on 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, a year, right? And we don't believe that. People have to be approached in the right way and see value in a membership versus being a non-member. You do have to create that. You have to create that kind of incentives, right? If it's not either beneficial or painful enough, people aren't going to get on your membership. You have to be able to create those, benefits and consequences, okay? And then let's be honest here. That's the same thing for no call, no shows, adding a card on file, or late pickup. You have to create those reward and consequences. If there's no consequence for picking up my dog on time, I'm more likely to leave it there longer, right? If you're not going to force me to put a card on file, I'm not going to do any of those things. And if there's no, problem with me doing a no call, no show, I may or may not do that, right? Ruth just said what? I'm not sure. Okay. What is our next question, Tiffany? So, here we go. So, the question from someone on Facebook was that I would lose most of my clients. So, I think a lot of times this is a concern where people are afraid no one's going to sign up and then my clients are just going to leave. Right. And it is really scary. The good news is that you don't need 100% membership, right? You can do members and not members. So you can start to create benefits in the membership and have people decide to do it very naturally. So if a non-member price is higher, and if things like first appointments, like they get the first crack at appointments, they're able to book out further, they're able to book certain days and times or appointments. And if those are membership benefits, then they can decide what it is specifically that they value. Okay. And let's remember that we are in a groomer drought, and this is a great way for clients to guarantee that they get a spot. I think a lot of times we have not explained to them that they are in a place that, how do I say this nicely? That at some point they may not be able to get into a grooming salon. I think a lot of places are seeing that, but I don't think that they understand it quite so much. I mean, on that podcast I did with the Doodle Pro, they were all shocked that that was going to happen. So I hope that answers that question. Hey, 80, great to see you here live. All right, Tiffany, go ahead and put up our next question, and I'm going to answer this next question from Ruth. So go ahead, Tiffany, and post up our next question. So let's see. So Ruth is saying, do you offer services to help set up a membership? So this is actually something I'm really excited about. We are working on a certification for virtual assistants. So we are setting up services that we're going to be able to help you guys on the back end. Are they here yet? No, they're not here yet. We need you guys to tell us what it is that you would need help with. A lot of that is going to be us learning what you guys would need. And then our goal is not to hire virtual assistants, but our goal is for you guys that maybe are interested in retiring or maybe can't groom full time and you're looking for a way to make extra money and still be involved in grooming. We're going to be offering that other groomers can become Savvy Groomer virtual assistants and certified so that you will have people to hire to help you implement your membership and do a lot of the back end stuff. We have in the past helped people set up their membership and do it. It is always going to be significantly more expensive for us to do it. That said, if as a collective in the membership model masterclass, if those students say, hey, these are items we would just love to buy from you, Savvy Groomer, then we will be creating them. A lot of times we try not to create things unless we know there's a need. Obviously, it makes more sense that way. So I hope that's helpful. All right. So our next question is losing current clients because of the price and then having someone apply to become a member and later turn into a jerk. So that is a real concern. Hey, Elizabeth, great to see you're live. So I will say, like, personally, my favorite membership model is the niche model. And I really like it when you guys make it a point to evaluate your membership every 6 months or at least once a year. Okay. And then you would also have a month-to-month agreement with a 30-day, last groom retainer. So here's the thing. If someone's a jerk, I first, of course, try to curb the behavior, right? I ask myself, okay, is this a confusion on expectations? Did I not explain things properly? Did I bend the rules for someone and now they feel entitled? Like, what happened here? And generally with policies and procedures and very like if this, then that, a lot of that behavior goes away. But let's say for whatever reason, they feel like the rules don't apply to them. The next thing I would do is set them on probation, right? And I would tell them, like, you're on a 30-day probation. If this behavior doesn't end, we can't work together. And that does take a lot of courage, but it's really important that we learn how to empower and stand up for ourselves. And a membership really does give you a lot more power because you are setting the rules, you are setting the expectations, and it is a mutual commitment. It is, I am agreeing to do this, and you are agreeing to do that. Now, of course, if that doesn't work, then you just fire them, ladies. Like, I hate to sound like it's really easy, but if someone is a jerk, they're definitely not your soulmate client. And the goal with a membership is for you to really just commit to those soulmate clients and let the fling clients or the clients that don't respect you stop talking to you. Again, my boring dating analogies, it would be like if you had, if you're dating somebody and they don't treat you nice, you don't keep dating them. And this is, again, very important. Okay. And there's zero need for customers to be rude. And obviously people have bad days, right? People have bad days. That makes sense. But as groomers in general, we need to take our power back, right? So no more dealing with assholes and doing grooms that we don't want to do. I just don't think that makes sense. Now, as far as losing clients due to pricing, we need to ask ourselves, are our clients here? Are they our clients right now because we offer them a service they value, or are we just a good price and we are convenient, right? Again, is someone dating me because they see a future with me, or are they dating me because I'm available and convenient? Doesn't feel good, right? Nobody wants to feel convenient. And obviously convenience is something we use to sell things, but I want them to genuinely like my business. I want them to really enjoy it, right? I want there to be this mutual happiness. And I can't promise you guys that clients will stay, right? Because I don't know how many of your clients are soulmate clients. And I don't know if they're choosing you again because they like you, or if they like the price point you're at, or because you're convenient, right? It's like saying to someone you've been dating casually, hey, I want to be in a committed relationship. I can't promise that they're going to date you. But if that's what you want, if you want that commitment, then you don't want to be the person who waits like a year having a situationship to find out that person's not interested in a committed relationship. It's better to know that. And I will say really quickly to you guys, it's really important if you are taking the membership model that you have either taken price increase masterclass, or at least have your numbers, because the membership is going to teach you how to price your memberships. What it's not going to do is to teach you how to collect it's not going to tell you how to come up with, is my hourly rate, is my pricing the right number? It's not going to do that. What it's going to do is you already have how much you need to charge. And then we take that number and then we apply it to that membership model. So it's really important you guys do that. Here's a Facebook user. I don't know if they work for me or not work for me. You know what I mean? If they're taking any of our information, they're in the process of adding memberships. Memberships are a great way. I'm a big fan of them. All right. So next question. Okay. Excuse you. They're afraid they're going to have to tolerate a member they don't want. And again, sometimes we have a happy price that we're willing to deal with a difficult dog or person. But if you don't, that's okay. Again, having clients go month to month is what I suggest, because then if it's not working out, it's not working out. And you have to say, hey, this isn't going to work. But ultimately, a membership really empowers you to pick and choose your clients. Again, because clients are in a committed 4-week relationship, you're going to be able to have that situation that they're committed and therefore you have more time, versus having a client who is a once-a-year client and you forget who they are and they're just coming around and around and around. So remember, you don't have to have any clients that you don't want to do. Oh, hey, Patsy, great to see you. So Patsy, if you want, if you're on Facebook, so you can actually, if anyone's on Facebook and you want me to be able to see your name, you have to actually go to chat.restream.io/Facebook. You only have to do it one time, and that gives Restream permission for me to see your name. That's going to be really nice and easy. So, all right. And Tiffany, you want to post the next one? I'm going to answer Ruth. She said, do you think that if you're going to do a price increase, that is the best time to offer a membership program? So I would say it depends on how much of that you're going up, and your personal emotional availability. So I think that I would rather rip off the Band-Aid. I am a kind of person that if they're going to be mad and leave, I'd rather them be mad and leave. And the people that stay are committed, right? So to me, it's a kind of like peanut butter and jelly price increase masterclass and the membership model. They are peanut butter and jelly. We got to figure out how much we need to charge. And then on top of that, what we're going to do is go ahead and get them to commit. So a great way to think about this is, and again, I'm always like live, I'm always like, wow, I'm a little crazy. So don't mind me. So there's different ways of doing it. If you've just done a price increase, a really simple, easy way is to say that my members are going to stay the same and my non-members are going to go up. And that's a great way to differentiate. Now, if you really needed a big price jump, that's where, again, you can offer member and non-members, and the member price could be where your pricing should be. And then the non-member could also be a price increase that is significantly more. And what also that does is that if a client wants to leave and go to another groomer, you can say, hey, if you don't commit and you're a non-member, you'll come back at non-member pricing. So that is a great way to get commitments. And I know a lot of people are like, why would I want commitment? But we're going to have a conversation about that a little later. All right, Tiffany, thank you so much. And Tiffany, you can feel free to post the next one ahead of time. I know there's a delay between me talking and it streaming. Perfect. So the question is, I would have to dump 50% of my clients. I would get bored working with such clients, with the same clients. So you may choose to have less clients. I mean, to me, it makes more sense for me to keep 100 monthly clients happy than trying to keep, 200 every 8-week clients happy. That's a lot more people to schedule, reschedule, make sure their dog's not getting matted, callbacks, etc. So, you can choose to do whatever you want. People do not have to have a set monthly clients. That's my favorite business model. Remember, there are 5 different models that we teach. And I highly suggest that you do the ones that are my favorite. However, if that doesn't work for you, you build a business on your terms. Like, I'm here for you to create a business that you love. So in that case, you might want to do what's called an enrollment fee membership, right? So that is, they pay a yearly fee to be a member of your appointment book. That's not guaranteeing them a groom. What it is, it's a flat fee that they pay per year in order to have the opportunity to book with you. And again, we get that small commitment and we are agreeing that and again, we can create that criteria of what they can and can't do. And we're not guaranteeing them appointment. We're guaranteeing them is access to book an appointment. These must be done very, very well. And they're not my favorite, but for somebody who likes a lot of variety and doesn't want committed clients, like 100% every month committed clients, this is a great option. One thing I will say, and again, this may not be you who posted this question, but a lot of people that say they crave variety, it's sometimes a sign that you're craving chaos. There's a lot of people in the grooming industry who crave unrest, chaos, like they really, and I do too. Like, listen, I loved being in control of the chaos of my shop. I loved that we did 40 dogs a day and we had a dog every 15 minutes. That like hustle bustle, that like psychotic like energy really fed my need for control and fed my feeling of power, right? Is like, it's the same feeling you get when you are riding a really crazy horse or you're able to groom a really aggressive or difficult dog, right? That feeling of overcoming chaos. And a lot of times, and this is something I learned about myself, when you crave that chaos, it's addictive and it makes feeling peaceful, stable, you know, normal, boring. And you'll see this with people in on dates. Like they'll have a really lovely partner who's amazing, and like, oh, he's so boring. It's like, is he boring or is he stable? And stable feels unnatural to you. Not trying to be your psychologist here or anything, but yeah. Oh, I love this. Is what Candace says. Would you rather have 4 quarters or 100 pennies? Absolutely. I think that's what it is. A lot of times is, it's a lot harder to keep track of a ton of clients and keep a ton of clients happy than just a few. And she also said, and Tiffany, you can post the next question as well. Do you like me try it all? River, tell them you should tell me. So again, like sometimes you can kind of make it like a little game, right? I want you guys to imagine you can try this out. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. You don't have to make it your end all be all. Again, you can have a member and non-member. And if it doesn't work out, guess what? You can just change your mind, or you can always leave it as an option, right? It just doesn't, whatever you want to do in your business is perfectly fine. The next question is getting everything set up and running efficiently, keeping track of who paid and who didn't. So it's definitely something you need to consider, and it is something you need to keep together. If you guys have taken the membership free workshop, we talked about that. That is definitely one of the cons, is that yes, you need to learn how to be organized. Why? Because you're going to have contracts and you're going to have agreements. There are lots of things that we suggest you do. For instance, I highly suggest that you have one time of the month. Some people do two. You can do two, but I highly suggest the one time of the month. It doesn't need to be the first of the month. It can also be the 15th. But if you have it, like, so if you guys know with group mentorship, we open up on the 1st and we close on the 5th. So all of the payments are between the 1st and the 5th. So I only have to have that checked on the 6th, right? So if you're in group mentorship and it's between the 1st and the 5th, if you've been paid by the 6th, what we do is we go in and we just message you, hey, you haven't paid, it looks like it either bounced or at this or at that. What's going on? So this is really simple. You have a list, right? And you just go through your list. And there's different ways you can do this. Now, this is something that we can set up too on a one-on-one coaching call. We do offer with the membership masterclass a 3 coaching session option. And that's something that I can help you figure out the best way for you to do it. Now, in my business, we use a program called Trello because I like checkboxes. And we use that. For some people, it's a Google document. For other people, they will actually use different software, and that software will automatically tell them. You can hire a virtual assistant to do this. There's lots of ways of doing that. But yes, you do need to have things set up in the back end. And as you guys let us know what you need, Savvy Groomer will create them. Whether that is like Google Doc templates or anything like that. We're going to be creating a lot of things for the back end. Do we have it now? No. But will we? Yes. But we need to know what you guys need in order to create it. Yeah, Candace is saying, I think this is so accurate. I love the chaos when I had my salon, but it's not a lasting quality for life. It's not. What happens is it catches up to you. And I'd rather you have variety in your personal life or in your hobbies than in your business. It's really hard to find employees when you're constantly losing your mind. The next question is, I have thought of offering a membership program, but don't know how I would save credit card numbers, automate the monthly charge, and have some kind of contract. So we don't specifically go through which programs to use, right? That said, it is something that if you want on a one-on-one call, we can absolutely talk about the different programs. And I can't keep up with the programs. The programs are always changing. I have used in the past Acuity. Works really, really well. It's not a grooming software, but it works really well and it's really cheap. But I would not personally save your credit card numbers. I would either save them using Square or Stripe, depending upon what you prefer to use. That is going to set it, and you can do a subscription. It's super easy. So that is something really easy. We do offer a template for a contract. Now, that template is created by an attorney, and it's one of those things that, it's completely up to you guys if you want to use it or not. I do suggest that you have a local attorney look at it. Why? Because every state's laws are different. And you do need to know all of that. And again, it's, you have them sign up for it. You charge, ideal in a perfect world, the perfect way I like to see it happen is that you charge them for the next month, and then that time of the month that they normally charge, their first charge goes through. So you always have 30 days in advance. So which brings me to my next question. Thank you, Tiffany. That way, if the card declines, does it create more work for me? It really doesn't, because it's actually more work if the card has declined and the client is in front of you, right? If we look apples to apples, right? If I had a card decline and the client's in front of me and I have no money, that's a lot more work, right? Then they either need to use a different card, they have to go get cash. Like, what are they going to do? Versus, again, I highly suggest you have that 30-day retainer. If the card declines, let's say that everyone gets charged on the 1st and you check all of your numbers by the 5th, then, and it might even be, some people are on the 1st and some people are the 15th. So let's say everyone's charged on the 1st, right? And people have declined. Then at their appointment, I can do this. If I message them, they didn't get the email, I text message them a template, right? And I would have a template response of like, hey, Susie Q, I just want to make you aware their card was declined. Now, when I use Stripe, it'll tell me why it's declined. It's either the bank denied it, there was insufficient funds, or it was fraud, or the card's different. So I like Stripe because it tells me why it was declined. And if it's insufficient funds, I'm more gentle than if the bank declined it, because that's either their bank pulling games on them or they've canceled it. So either way, I have 30 days. So if it says insufficient funds, I give them a little bit more grace and time, because I have also been in a situation where I'm waiting for a paycheck and it's just not going through, right? So that's definitely it, right? But again, by having those 30 days, I'm not going to lose money. And I can just say to them, hey, we have to update this card. We need a card on file when you come in. Now, if they don't give me that new card, what I would just do very gently is say, hey, I'm really sorry, but if you don't give me an updated card, I'm going to have to assume that this is your last groom and open up my wait list. Again, we're creating pressure for them to do something, not us. By me saying that you've already paid for this groom, this is the last groom, I don't have any more money going forward, then they know what they have to do is either get a new card or they're not going to get a member pricing. So that's where, again, either I'm member only and I say I have to open up my wait list and fill that spot, or I have to say next groom is going to be at a non-member price. Okay. And if we've created the price point at a good enough price, it's going to make a lot of sense for them to stay on the membership. All right. So next question is that in the end, it'll be more work once a membership gets canceled. How do you prevent everyone canceling at the same time? Summer, holidays, winter, when people wait due to cold weather. So again, by having the membership be the best option, right? So again, if we charge the same for 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks for a groom, people will skip an entire month, right? If people and I see this a lot at my shop, where people would say, oh, they get their dog groomed, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then January, February, they're like, oh, he's cold, so we're not going to get him a haircut, right? Well, that's fine. But if you were pricing, and again, this is why I highly suggest doing the price increase masterclass first. And I know here I am selling the membership, and I'm trying to, just be like, don't buy the membership, buy this. But it is really important. A lot of the things that we communicate in the price increase masterclass, you must understand. Like, you must understand about price drivers and why people spend money and things like that. Absolutely. And then with a membership, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, and now commit. Okay. So how do we prevent people from everyone canceling at once? Well, if it is a lot more money to be a non-member, right? If they cancel, then I have time to either fill everything up or I'm making technically more money with them being a non-member. Another way of doing that is doing a hybrid of both an enrollment fee as well as let's say a niche membership. So that's something where you might say, like, no problem if you sign up in 2020, we're going to waive the enrollment fee. But in 2023, there's going to be an enrollment fee, and that enrollment fee can be as low as $50, and I've seen it as high as $1,200 for the year. So, and again, that's where you want to make sure that your membership is valuable enough that people want to stay in it versus just being a non-member. Because if being a non-member is the same price and all the same benefits and all blah, 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 then why wouldn't they cancel? But that's where we have to make sure that being a member is a good deal. All right. So next question, scheduling conflict nightmares. So if you've taken the free workshop, we talk about how I highly suggest if you're doing a member only business that you have less members than you have spots. For instance, if you have 80 members and that's the memberships that you're going to have, having 100 spots. Why? Because if I have 80 memberships and I have 20 extra spots, that is, and let's say that's 5 appointments a day, right? So that 80 clients, that allows me to have either, days off, right? Because that's almost an entire week, by the way, having those 20 extra spots. And it allows people to move. Now, we talked about really this more in depth in the workshop. So, I really want you to check that out. But a lot of the questions you have about the scheduling conflicts, there's a lot of behavior around it, okay? So here's the thing too, I want you to remember. If you already have their money, they're going to book, right? So if you don't have everyone set on same day, same time of the month, so let's say, you are first Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m., right? And you're like, okay, we're going to allow everyone to online book themselves. Well, you already have their money. So, and if we highly suggest the use it or lose it method, where you have that calendar month to use it. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So again, instead of us chasing them to book an appointment, it's their responsibility as an adult to book their appointment, right? And there's lots of ways to stop that behavior, right? And again, you can book them out for the year and only allow them to move their appointment twice, right? You can say, hey, without, or you can add a fee. You can say, okay, either we only allow you to move your yearly appointments twice, or you can add an admin fee, and the admin fee can be high. It can be like $25. And if they ask why, you can simply say, well, I've got to pay someone to do the admin that we don't normally do, right? Which is true. If you hired a virtual assistant and it takes them an hour, which an hour is going to be the minimum they're going to do, it's going to be $25 for that hour. Okay. And again, you can teach them how to do all that stuff. Next question is, it's not really a question, locked in pricing, but I know what you mean. So they're afraid of locked in pricing. So locked in pricing really is a double-edged sword, right? So when you are agreeing to a membership, you are agreeing to a price. So with that, you want to ask yourself, okay, why am I afraid of being locked into a price? Is it because I'm afraid the client is going to change their mind on their haircut or their service? Well, then I highly suggest in the contract, you agree to a length of hair and a haircut, right? And then if they want to change the haircut, they need 30 days in advance because you've got to sit down and renew that contract. And again, you can do this and say, listen, we do every 6 months, we review your contract and we do this different. And that's the way it's going to work, right? You can always say you're locked into this haircut for the next 6 months. If you're the kind of person that you have very vain customers who constantly change your mind, like, listen, every 6 months, you're going to agree on a haircut. And if you want to change your mind, then we need to reevaluate what tier you're on or whatever the grooming price is. The other thing is that yes, you are agreeing to a price. And this is why, again, it's so important to take the price increase masterclass and understand your pricing and make sure you are pricing appropriately, right? Because then you are locked into pricing, but you're mutually agreeing to what that will be. And if it's not, then I would have those 6 months times where you're doing that. It's also really freeing to have really simplified pricing, because a lot of times I ask you guys how much something would cost and you have no idea. I can't tell you how many times I ask a student, I'm like, how much does this cost? And it's like this whole rigmarole. It's like, well, it depends. It's like, okay. Instead, it's like, okay, it's going to be 100, 150, or 200 bucks. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? And it's super easy for the client to understand. Remember, if you confuse, you lose. People will pay more for something if it's a guaranteed price. And again, that is really, it's easier for them to budget a higher price each month if they know how much they're going to charge. I'm sorry, to pay, how much you're going to charge. I know I'm trying to like switch questions and it wasn't working. Okay. I'm afraid people won't tip on a membership or I'll miss out on large tips that I usually get. So this is kind of a two-part answer for me. One part is, how do I say this in a nice way? If you are relying on tips, you're not charging enough. If you are relying on tips, you are not charging enough. Tips should be gravy. So that's the first things first. And if your employees are living off their tips, I highly suggest you do a few things to kind of curtail that, because that is not sustainable. People living paycheck to paycheck and living off tips is not really great. So one thing that we don't do, or at least most of us don't do, is that we don't ask clients every appointment, would you like to add gratuity? My phrasing is always, would you like to add gratuity? It's never expected, but it's always appreciated, right? So this is a situation where you can always say, hey, would you like to add gratuity to your membership? It's going to be automatically charged, so you don't even have to think about it, right? That's one way of handling. A lot of people are like, oh my God, yes, perfect. Just go ahead and do that. It automatically goes in. And if you have employees, it's a whole nother conversation, but that's really easy. Now, if you don't want to add the gratuity right to the membership, another way of doing it is to have a cash jar, which right now with COVID, cash is not king, but cash is great. And then have little, what do you call them? Not credit cards, business cards, little like, Vistaprint or whatever. Have, each employee have on one side, let's say Cash App, and the other side Venmo, right? And then again, whoever's checking out the dog can just say, would you like to leave us some gratuity? If not, it's never expected. It's always appreciated. If you'd like to, when I'm getting your dog, here is my Cash App. Somebody who's generous in a regular appointment is also going to be generous during a membership. They just will. And in fact, I found people were more generous because they weren't paying. When someone hands you $100 for a groom, handing an extra 20 feels kind of icky. But when they don't have any money, if they don't have to spend that money, it's just something they're not thinking about, they're more likely to pull out more money. And another really quick tip is to leave it as well. You can actually have a suggested gratuity based either on your tiers or whatever, a little thing of like, a little thing on your thing. So when whoever's checking out the dog says, would you like to leave a gratuity? It's never expected, but it's always appreciated. If you're not sure what to tip, here is a list of suggested gratuity. That helps a lot of people. A lot of people don't know what to charge. And again, and you can have whatever you need right there. There's lots of ways of doing and setting that up. I see potential downfall when I might need to reschedule dogs. I worry about pricing incorrectly and managing client expectations. So pricing incorrectly, first things first, is always price increase masterclass. I really, 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 really suggest you take that before you're doing membership, or take membership, get your ideas on what you want to do, and then take price increase, but don't implement it till you've taken price increase masterclass, please, in a perfect world. Or if you know your prices, they're the right prices. That's awesome. Managing client expectations, absolutely. That's what the contract is for. That is what policies and procedures are for. You do need to do onboarding with this. You do need to do a contract that states what I do and I don't do. You do need to have client expectations. And I'm going to sound so mean for a minute. I'm so sorry, whoever wrote this, but we should be doing that anyway. Right? This forces us. It's tough because this forces us to actually do the things that we should do in our business anyway. And I'm so sorry if that comes off rude, but we should be onboarding clients. We should be spelling out what is their expectation. The difference between a membership and a regular shop is if you were actually doing the onboarding and setting the client expectations, your clients would only have to do them once, right? With a membership versus a regular business salon with like our regular appointments, you're generally skipping out on doing that stuff. And if you are doing it, you're doing it a lot more for a lot of new clients, right? You're wasting your time and spinning your wheels. And we've talked about rescheduling. There's lots of ways of helping that out and fixing that. So, a lot of that is, it's really interesting too to me because people are so worried about rescheduling dogs, but what do you do now? Like, how do you do that now? Like, it's so much easier to reschedule dogs when you want me to reschedule and you're more respectful because I have your money. I always said that when in my coaching, before at one point, I was having people pay for their coaching pay for their coaching after the appointment. And now you have to pay and then you can book. And it's so interesting because when I have their money, they show up. When I had people pay after, it was so interesting because people would reschedule, they would cancel. It was really amazing. Not amazing. That's a mean way of saying it. It was just a really fascinating, but it's true. If you have to book or you're going to lose it, you are more likely to be aware of it because you don't want to lose the money. And if they don't book, you just tell them like, hey, you knew you had to book. You knew when we opened our availability and there are consequences to behavior. So Patsy said, all my cards on file have a form that asks about added tips in the alt tip. Absolutely. A lot of times it's just being honest and saying, would you like to add tips? And a lot of people don't know they're supposed to tip. I didn't know. I learned a lot about hotel rooms randomly. I didn't know you're supposed to tip people at your hotel. I had no idea. Right. And there's not a line or anything for it. They don't ask me. I think if they had a little envelope in my hotel room that said, housekeeper gratuity, never expected, always appreciated. You could just literally get a label or a stamp and put that on envelopes right on your front desk. That would increase your tips significantly. Candace says, when they hand me cash, I ask if they would like to add it into their monthly payment. Absolutely. Another thing you can do too, right, with this is just, exactly. Sorry, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We're running out of time. I want to make sure that I get through more questions. But yes, tips are a hot topic, but a lot of you guys don't know how much you're making in tips now because you're not saving any of your tips. And in a perfect world, you would get your tips once a week because then you're not blowing them. But that's another conversation for another day. So someone wrote, I'm afraid of doing it wrong and losing money. Absolutely. I will say memberships must be done right. You should not go rogue making memberships. I've had students who have gone rogue making memberships and not do what I suggest and not do what I teach. And again, I'm here to help you, here to support you, here to help do whatever it is that you need to do. That said, there are for instance, like the enrollment fee membership model. If you do that and you come off like you're so lucky that I'm willing to groom your dog, that's going to piss people off, and if you are trying to market your membership to people that don't care, right, that don't want to deal with your business, they're not going to buy. So, and again, with your pricing, the price increase masterclass is important. And it is also important to know which model works best for you. We've offered 5. It was really tough for us to boil down all of because you can take pieces from each of them, but it's like, okay, what do I like and what don't I like? What would I like to add? What wouldn't I like to add? And who is the person going to buy that? I do think that you should, if you're considering doing a membership model, this masterclass is a game changer. And I don't do anything just to make money. I do something because I see a huge gap in the industry and no one is teaching it, or no one is teaching it in a way that I wish I could teach people. A lot of my one-on-one students have done memberships with me. It takes about 3 months, and that's a lot of money. The average groomer can't afford $3,600 to do one-on-one coaching with me to set up their membership. This is a huge savings for you guys. And I'm really, really, really proud of my team. You guys have no idea how hard it was for us to create this, because we had to boil down about 12 to 20 hours that I would teach individual clients into a 6-week class. It was a lot of work, and I'm really proud of myself and my team for making it really digestible. Okay, so next question is, the people in my area are low income and don't see grooming as a necessity. Okay, so we're going to have the adult conversation. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say I own a successful grooming business and nobody will pay my prices. Those two things can't live in the same universe. Now, if you live in an area where grooming is a necessity and you are basically like the Walmart of grooming, and that is what you're saying. If you're saying they don't see it as a necessity, they don't care about it, I'm just basically somebody who gets to wash their dog, and they'll do it as like a pampering. Well, then you have to ask yourself, are you okay only doing dogs that people don't see? Again, it's like being Walmart or McDonald's, right? Is that who you want to be? Or would you rather, again, have a member and a non-member, and the member gets the better options? Now, in those areas, it depends upon what they value. Do they prefer morning or afternoon appointments? Do they prefer weekday or weekends, right? You could have the rest of the week normal grooming and then increase your prices. And then your weekend is your members only time, right? And if you have no members, then you have the weekend off, right? And then you've created that within your program. I do think a lot of people say they're low income, and a lot of times and I don't mean to sound like such a bitch. I really hope I don't come off that way, but they'll be like, oh, I'm low income. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go look at the houses on Zillow within 20 minutes of your shop or 30 minutes in your shop. And I will find houses worth $500,000. And just so you guys know, in order to qualify for a $500,000 mortgage, right, they had to put down at least $100,000, right? And you have to make 6 figures to qualify for that mortgage. So I would look at what the houses are within 30 minutes. If you have no houses over $300,000 in 30 minutes, if you literally live in a town of 5,000 people, then I will agree with you. But if you live in a town of 5,000 people, are you really able to make grooming a full-time career, right? And it's tough because a lot of times you guys say things and they don't line up. Like they can't exist in the same world, right? It's like the person that says they're all going to leave me if I have a price increase and I had to close my wait list because I can't fit any more clients. It's like, okay, so is everyone going to leave you and you'll have no clients, and this whole wait list that's been banging on your door will just be like, no, it's too high? Like they can't exist in the same universe. It's a lot of times our fear speaking to us. Next question is, how does it work in a mobile setting? So mobile, it works really well. We actually have an entire membership model designed around mobile. I highly suggest you have same place, same time every month. So like, again, this person would be Tuesday at 9 a.m. The next, first Tuesday at 9 a.m. The next person, depending upon how you have everything shifted. And again, if you're mobile, you should always have that wiggle room. But it works really, really well in mobile. And what's awesome, again, is if I already have the money and I don't have to worry about payments, I don't have to worry about carrying cash in my van. I have seen a lot of mobiles. And again, I talk to thousands of people, guys. There's a lot of mobiles that get robbed, a lot of mobiles that feel unsafe, having thousands of dollars in cash in your van, having to make change, right? That's kind of scary, having to pull out that money box. So again, this allows you to just do that. It's also really awesome if you have mobile employees. So if you have mobile employees, they're not checking in and out that dog, right? They don't know how much that groom is. And again, on the same level, not about mobile, but about even shops. If you do want your groomers to check in and out the dogs, if they're a membership, they're not taking that payment. So they don't know how much that dog is. So when you switch them to mobile, they're not feeling like you're stealing money from them. That's a really nice benefit. Next question is not being able to take spontaneous trips like the ones where I'm like, in 3 weeks, what do we have going on? Let's go rent a camper and go camping as soon as we have a few free days. So there's different ways, again, on how to do your membership. So I like spontaneity too. I know lots of groomers who want their entire year planned out, and that's how they do business, right? Everything is scheduled for the year, and then they plan everything else around that. I like to go month to month. I like if you try to book a Savvy Groomer coaching call, you can't do it more than 4 weeks in advance. Why? Because I like to have that spontaneity as well. So for someone like that, I would highly suggest one of two things. Either booking less days, like we said, either having those set times and again, having the 80 with the extra 20 spots available. Because don't forget, if you made your appointments, let's say for shits and giggles, okay? Let's say you have those 80 people between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you leave Friday open. Right? That is those extra appointments that you only open if someone needs to reschedule. You only allow people to reschedule twice a year, or they have to pay an extra $25 to book that appointment, right? That means you actually basically get an extra day off. That means 3 days off, and you're grooming all in those 4 days, right? So that allows you to say, hey, hon, I don't have anybody this Friday. I'm going to block it off and we're going to go, right? Or on the flip side, what a lot of people do is they have, those 3 weeks and they leave this entire week off, right? And you can always block that week out. If you're having people book their own appointments, right? You can just block off a week. And then if you want to leave, and then if you want to open it up, you can do that. Again, depending upon what kind of software you're using, it's really easy. I personally use Acuity for a lot of my online coaching stuff because it allows me to just pop open on my phone. Like I can just with my son, we were going to camp and there were issues. So I was just like, I think he's not going to be able to go to camp tomorrow. So I just opened it up and I blocked it off really quickly. I just put do not disturb for 2 days. And that blocked off those 2 days. So that allowed me to be spontaneous like that. I do think it's all in how you set it up and what you value. I mean, it's no different than now, right? You don't have to have everyone on a set schedule. You can have it be you've paid for the month and it's up to you to online book. All right. So next question is finding space when you unexpectedly get sick or your kids are sick, death in the family, snowstorms, missing out on spontaneous fun. So again, this is no different than what you guys currently have in your grooming salon. The way their current grooming salon is working, the difference is that these people are mutually committed to you. So this is where, again, I don't think if you have 100 spots available every month, don't make your membership based on 100, make it based on 80. Why? Because then you have those flexibilities. I highly suggest if you do have your membership set up in a way, let's say that Monday. So the way I had my mobile set up is I had Monday and Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. So you knew if I had to reschedule on Monday and Tuesday, you were going to either get rebooked on Wednesday or Saturday. And then if you were on Thursday, Friday, and for whatever reason, snow, etc., needs to change, you're going to be able to move to Saturday or Sunday. Your membership clients are super committed. They're really, you see these people every month. They're a totally different client than a regular grooming client. So if you have a situation where, again, if you don't have a strict cancellation policy, if you have a more flexible cancellation policy, because I honestly believe what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? I don't have policies that I'm a hypocrite about. I think that's really not the best way of doing things. But if you're the kind of person where you like flexibility and your clients like flexibility, you can absolutely message them. I mean, I will tell you, a membership client is way more likely to move. Hey, Susie Q, I'm so sorry. My son's name is Ronan. Ronan's sick. Is there any way I can move you till tomorrow? If not, is there any way that XYZ 123, right? So, again, it's the same way you would do it, except now, again, I have their money. And if, there is a massive snowstorm, whether you have a mobile, or a regular, you're going to be canceled and moving everyone anyway. The difference is I have your money, so you're more likely to, reschedule this month versus being pushed out. Now, if there's an emergency, right, and you're closed for 2 weeks due to a flood or a natural disaster, that's on you as the grooming business owner to make that decision. And that's where I would create a policy procedure for emergency situations. But hopefully you're not going to have a flood or a hurricane or a snowstorm where you can't be open for 2 weeks. But just like in your regular grooming salon, you would have those same problems, right? You'd have a client who should be every 4 weeks who is now every 6 or 8 because they got pushed out. All right, I'm going to answer Ruth. And if you guys have any more questions, please post below right now. It's 8 o'clock. I'm going to be wrapping this up. I want to make sure I'm getting everyone's questions. And then I'm going to head out and I'm going to probably, I don't know, watch a movie or something, I guess. So Ruth said, should you spend your time marketing to existing customers or recruit new clients? I would do both. First things first, I would always do marketing to my current clients. And I would let them know that I'm going to be doing this and that it's up to them if they want to do it or not. And it depends if you're going to 100% membership right away, that's a very different approach to, our goal is to go membership only. And in the meantime, you can be both. And then once it's full and we're done. Or we are always going to have members and non-members. So if you're going strictly to 100% members, I would do both, to new clients and current clients, and tell them if you're not a member, you're done. If you're going to have members until, and non-members till you're full. This is what I did with my mobile. Now, I didn't officially do a membership model with it, but I did basically everything else except have the reoccurring payment. I would personally now have had those people commit, just because it would have made my life a lot easier than taking those payments in the van, because it just adds extra time when you're there. Even if it only takes 5 minutes times 5 clients is 25 minutes, an extra 30 minutes a day that would just be automated. So the way I would tell them is I said, hey, I have 100 monthly spots. It's for monthly clients. Once it's full, it's full. I want to make sure that I offer it to you first because you've been a really loyal client. And I want to make sure that you get the first crack at it. And if they say, no, it's not for me, be like, that's not a problem. I do want to make you aware that I'm happy to book you in for your appointments. However, if someone does take your spot, I will not be able to honor those spots. If a member decides that they want that spot, we cannot honor that spot. And for a lot of people, that's enough for them to go, oh shit, maybe I need to get on this membership because I really want that spot. Especially if you do the same spot every month. If you already have clients who are on the same month at the same time. So, it was a long hour, guys. I feel like we did a good job. High five. So before I leave, I'm going to open up if you guys have any more questions. If not, then I'm going to head out. So, I just want to say how much I really appreciate all of you guys. I can't thank you guys enough for being here. I just, it makes it so much more fun when you guys are here because I'm able to answer questions directly and give you some insight. Like, I know memberships is fairly new in the industry. I'm hoping, Barkley WPA, if you're listening, I'd love to do some classes on them, to introduce them to more people in the industry. And I know that as we get more people who are interested in this, it is going to take time. And, again, for a lot of you guys, it is something you're going to take and maybe not run with right away. You're going to take this class and you're going to let it ruminate, and maybe you start next year. You don't have to immediately start it up if you're not ready. it's definitely something you need to learn how to do properly and then really digest. I want you guys to build a business that you love. And that's the whole point, right? I mean, what's the point of owning a business if you're not freaking happy, right? Emily D said, I love the idea of membership, but my current workplace doesn't have the ability to store a credit card on file. Should I take the class now, or will it be available later when I have the ability? So I don't know when we're going to open it up again. I will say that. We will open it up as a complete self-study in the future. So Emily, it really depends upon, and Emily, I adore her. She took my price increase masterclass. I think Emily, for you, it's one of those situations if you're thinking about signing up for it so that you can start ruminating it and digesting it and thinking about how you're going to do in the future, because I know we've talked about where we don't know how long you're staying where you're staying. So I will say, I like in a perfect world, there to be a 90-day digest of this and like doing all the things and getting all the things together. So it just depends on what you realistically think your timeline is. And I know we've talked about, if you're going to leave and how you're going to leave, and only you know that. I will say this, and is that if you're not ready, don't worry about it. We will be selling this again. The only other thing I will say is that if you want it now and you want to have your situation set up, that way when you're ready to open up your business and build out your business, you've already made all of these plans and they're already designed and they're already created and you're ready to rock and roll. So that's totally up to you. I will say we've added, because your girl, because she just can't, fully listen to her team. So we have added the bonus that I've added a membership masterclass Facebook group, and I will be available for this launch for an hour a week to answer questions. Now I haven't scheduled that hour yet, but I will be in that private Facebook group to answer questions and do things like that. If you've taken the price increase masterclass, you know the self-studies do not include a free Facebook group, unless if it's live. And then when it's not live, we pull that back. And we do that because I love y'all, but I can't answer your questions. So Emily says, thank you. I'm not sure if you answered this already. How does membership function with additional Groomers employees? It works really effortlessly. And again, it depends on which membership model you want to do. We have 5 of them. It works effortlessly with the unlimited. With the niche, it depends on if you want to have, a set number that the salon takes care of, or per groomer, you have a set number of memberships for them. It works really easily that way. And again, the enrollment fee, it's even easier, just paying for that enrollment and you've got all your expectations, contracts, et cetera, done. So it works really easily with employees. I think if you guys have specific questions about how it functions with additional groomers employees, like what specific thing you're not sure how it works with, I'm happy to answer that. But, so let's say I have 100 spots and I have one groomer, it's 80, right? And then you might be like, okay, I'm going to add a bather. So maybe I'm going to add a few extra spots because I can overlap those. But, it depends on how big of a business you have. I mean, I had the unlimited, and the unlimited really only works with employees because you need employees to do the work, because one groomer owner can't, bathe and blow dry, quote unquote, unlimited. And unlimited isn't actually unlimited. There's lots of ways we can curtail that. But with the additional staff, it is really easy. It just makes it effortless because, again, if I have that employee and I guarantee their salary, now it's a lot easier for me to know what to pay them and how to pay them, right? And we talk about the point system. If I have a groomer who is a 10 point, which, by the way, if you haven't heard of my point system, would be like 5 Shih Tzus a day, right? Then I know if they're a 10-point groomer and they're going to work 4 days a week, they have 20 spots available, right? So that means that I can add 20 memberships, right? there's a lot of ways of doing all of that. Now, we don't necessarily cover how to function 100% that with additional groomers. We are eventually going to be creating that higher managed pay class. And I think we're going to talk more about it there. But that's a great place where if you're doing your one-on-ones, that's a great place to do it. And again, if there's things that you guys want us to create for memberships for employees, we can always create future resources. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the info. I agree. And also teach 90, 120 days to get all your business issues done and ready to go before going well. Absolutely. I think a lot of times we want things done now, and I am a big done now person. So I totally get that. I think that it's so important for us to consider what it is that you specifically want to do and how you want to do it, and really get to know yourself. Like, we have so many classes now that help you decide who your soulmate client is. And even if you took price increase masterclass and you learned your soulmate client there, who your soulmate client was for price increase masterclass may not be who your soulmate is for your membership, right? It's no different than when I had my shop, my soulmate client for my shop. Even though it was the same age group, it was still the same kind of demographic and psychographics. They still were a different person when I went feeling exclusive mobile, right? You'll often hear people say, yeah, a lot of people didn't follow me when I went mobile. And it's because they're different soulmate clients. And I'm so sorry, I don't know who that is, but I'm so glad that you're teaching 90 to 120 days, right? When people go mobile. That's so important. We want to honor that. We want people to see the time, right? We don't want people to rush into things. I want you guys to do it right. And that sucks because I am also that person. Oh, Patsy, it's you. It's so weird. I don't know why it didn't. It said Facebook user that time. I don't know why it's doing that. Listen, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, yay, technology. And other times I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. It's just doing that. So yeah, Patsy, I'm so glad that you are teaching that. And we need more people. We need more people to learn how to run businesses like that. And I'm just one educator. We have, lots of other great educators in the industry. Patsy's saying, finally got it fixed. Yay, Patsy, yay. I know, right? As you end. The good news is if you fixed it, then it should next time work perfectly fine. I think it's a setting Facebook has, and basically you have to let Restream have the ability to post your name, which whatever, right? It is what it is. All right, all. If there are no more questions, I am going to finally, yet again, love you and leave you. I feel like I'm like that terrible bye person. Like, I'm like, bye, no bye. Like, really now, bye, bye. It is what it is. All right, guys. So thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys in the membership model. If not, that's okay. We will open it again later. It'll probably be as a self-study later, not as a live. But if we do offer a live later, just so you know, if you do sign up now in this launch, if we offer it again live, then we will, anyone who signs up now will get access to the live for no additional cost. So we're excited. It's a lot of content, but it's really good. I'm happy. I'm pretty happy. All right. I know I have a way to do my outro. Let me see if I can find it. It's under graphics. All right, guys. So hang on 1 second. Yeah, turn that. Listen, I'm getting used to. I'm getting this. And we're gonna have the next virtual happy hour, the end of the month too, guys. So I'll see you then as well. All right, guys. So as always, happy grooming.